right, welcome to another episode of After the Catch presented by PGM. We had a little bit of a break, but we're back with you. As you can see, there's a new face with us. KB is out on vacation, so we got a special guest, and it's Casey joining us. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, happy to be here. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Oh yeah, of course. We're happy to have you. As y'all can see, Miss Casey is repping ATL. She got the Falcons logo,
Yeah.
loud and proud with it. And at PGM, and after the catch, we want women to have safe spaces to share their opinions and thoughts on sports. So we consider ourselves very lucky to have you with us tonight. And it's always good to get a fresh perspective. You're the first woman we've had on the podcast, so
Oh,
um,
that's
yeah. So welcome, welcome.
thank
Um,
you.
so let's get into it. So let's talk about you for a moment. Let's get into again. You got the Falcons logo in the background. So tell us a little bit. Share with us your journey to becoming an ATL sports fan.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of I don't want to say born into it, but we moved to Atlanta when I was 2.
Okay.
I was actually born in Ohio. I was
Okay.
born in Columbus.
Gotcha.
Um Family, my dad's side, big Ohio State fans, a lot of Bengals fans too, a lot of Browns fans.
Okay.
But moved to Atlanta when
Okay.
I was and I just kind of got indoctrinated that way. When my mom married my stepdad, and he was a big Falcons fan, and so he was watching the games. And I don't know how I even got into sports. Period. I just know I have like one day, like I was just very much into sports. Like I just started watching sports. Like I remember in kindergarten, I got like a big Falcons yearbook from
Mhm.
my classmates had it, uh, gave it to me, and I would just read the yearbook all the time, and it listed like all the roster and like bios and stuff, and I would read it all the time. Like I like to read, and that was just like a cool book. I thought it was a cool book. And then my enter Michael Vick era, um, in
That,
my child as a
that was a
child
good time. That was a good time for sure.
experience, then going into to Matt Ryan era. Um, I just love this team. Like you'll be very hard pressed to find a person that loves the Falcons more than I do.
Mhm.
Win, lose, whatever goes down, I am very loyal to my squad, and I take them very serious. I get very emotional.
I know. I know.
And don't get me wrong, I love the Hawks. I love the Braves.
Mhm.
And unite whatever team is the dream, whoever. But for some reason, the Falcons just have this very deep, deep, special spot in my heart, and I will defend them till I am red in the face, which don't take much. And so that's kind of how I ended up here. And growing up, I just love sports. I think my love for sports also too came from playing video games,
Okay.
like NBA Street early. Playing, I remember when Mike Vick was on the Madden cover. That was like my first Madden, and the 2K5 with Ben Wallace on it, like
Mhm.
that got into playing sports, got me watching, playing sports video games got me into watching. And then I went to Southwest Atlanta Christian Academy, and Dwight Howard got drafted.
Oh yeah, he did go
Also,
there.
yeah, that pushed me into watching the NBA more. That was like 2004. So 2004, I was young. Like 2004, I was like a fifth grader. So
Mhm.
that was like when the year he got drafted was like one of my first years watching a full season of NBA basketball. Really fell in love with it. So it's kind of twofold how I became a Falcons fan, an Atlanta sports fan, and just got into sports. Period.
Yeah, I definitely found out how serious you take it because real funny story for a moment before we continue. You know, and the Falcons. Well, we'll get into it a little bit later in the episode, but the Falcons kind of they had a tough one. And me, we interact on the timeline about different sports stuff. Like you'll make a post and I'll comment on it. I'll make a post, you comment on it, and I just I made a post, saying my condol because it was a tough way to go.
It was.
and you quickly reminded me that the Bengals have done absolutely nothing this season. And it's like I wasn't even trying to be funny,
It
but
felt
you took it that way, and you let me know not to play around,
mine
when it comes to your
is
Falcons.
to give me a few hours. If you do it right at, like, right at
Well,
4
yeah, the
when the
game it was
it's
fresh.
fresh,
Yeah, it was
if
fresh.
you give me to, like, Sunday Night Football,
Mhm.
I'm probably cool by then. I've probably, like, come to terms with it because again, it sucked, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, I really had to put things into
No,
perspective.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, just give me a little bit with anything. I gotta, come to myself,
You gotta process. You gotta process the
and acceptance is like the final stage. So you call me during the anger. So
I was like, "Whoa," like, it wasn't even my intention. I know it may have felt that way.
I probably because I had one of my other friends text me and I immediately like just fired back. Who are you even a team up like a fan of? Like you a fan of multiple teams like that's in the same like conference. Like what I don't know
Yeah.
what you're doing. And they were like, I was like, okay, you're right. You're right.
No,
Y'all can
I
still
absolutely I hate it when, like, someone who doesn't even really like, they know I support the Bengals, and they know, like, how hard especially the losses this season. Like, I mean, some of the losses this season have been just inexplicable, but, like, when someone who doesn't even support a team or, like, they, um, like you said, they support multiple teams or hop from team to team based on who's doing well, and they wanna
right.
say something slick to me, it's like, "Come on, man." So, no,
It's not,
I definitely I understand. I understand how you feel. So,
but I'm working on it.
lesson learned. Lesson learned.
Worst, like, I remember I threw a head off a balcony.
A what?
I threw. I remember I think it was like 2019. Beginning of the season, Falcons lost to the Cowboys in an egregious
Mhm.
fashion. I think they won off like a time winding down kick, and I just tossed the hat, like just tossed it. Fifth floor apartment.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I went and got it, but so you didn't even
That's
I
funny.
get fired up. So yeah, I'm working on it.
No, I understand. I mean, listen, like sports, it brings something out of
Take
you. They bring a lot of emotion, and it's tough when your team is on the bad end of a situation that kind of comes up in the game. And it's like you watch football, it's truly a game of inches. It's just a couple of plays.
yeah,
And when the plays don't go your way, it hurts.
yeah,
Especially when you're watching and like it's over. Like this is that like either there was a mistake made or you didn't convert on fourth down or whatever it might be. You didn't score a touchdown and you just know like, okay, well, and then you start coping.
mhm,
And like you said, it's a process. So no, I completely understand. Going back
yeah,
to your video game comment, that definitely took me back. NBA Street. I
yeah.
mean, NBA Street Volume 2, some of the
Volume two.
best games I ever played. So yeah, you definitely took me back with that comment.
For
Um,
sure.
all right, so let's get before we kind of get more into like what's going on with our team specifically, let's get into the action in week 10. I will start it off because the Bengals and the Ravens played on Thursday night, and like I just said, the Bengals have had some tough losses, and this was just another one, another tally in the L column, unfortunately. Um, Bengals were in full control of this game. It was 21-7 in the third quarter, and Chase Brown, who recently became the lead running back, kind of based on injuries that have happened. Um, he fumbled, and the Bengals had complete momentum. They had the ball going up to going to driving to potentially go up by 3 scores. Chase Brown fumbles, and the rest is history. You lose all the momentum.
Mhm.
And the Ravens. end up coming back and winning the game 35-34. The Bengals could have tied the game and tried to go to overtime, but they went for a 2-point conversion right at the end of the fourth quarter, and they did not convert. Um, a lot of Bengals fans um, were upset. There were like several face mask calls that could have been called. Several face masks. There was a holding penalty that could have been called, but when you're up 21-7 in the third quarter and you play the defense has been awful for the Bengals this season. I'll say that, but they held the Ravens in check for the majority of that game, and you allowed them to come back and score 28 points in the last 19 minutes of game action. You have to be really, really bad in order for that to happen. And there's no excuses. I can't blame the refs. It's on the team. You blame whoever you want to blame. I myself, I don't really blame the Bengals offense. Joe Burrow is playing at an amazing level. Maybe the best um, quarterback in the NFL, depending upon who you ask. As far as the stats go for this game in particular, um, he was 34 for 56, threw for 428 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. They get sacked 3 times. Jamar Chase, which will be a larger part of the conversation later on, had 11 had uh, a game for the ages. He had 11 catches for 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, and it didn't matter because they lost the game. So another tough loss again, and there have been several so far this season. Um, did you have any thoughts on what you saw on Thursday night with the Ravens and Bengals?
I'm super proud of you for not blaming the refs. It's very
You can't. You
because
can't.
it was because it was definitely could have been called on that 2-point conversion.
Mhm.
It was egregious. But again, it's like it's tough because you don't want to flag to decide the game. I'm not a fan of that, even because I mean, in NFL, you can call a hold on almost every
Oh yeah,
play,
on every play. No, absolutely.
and I feel like at that point, the refs, unless it's just, I mean, it's tough because it was egregious, but I don't, they don't want to have the game in there, like decide the game like that.
Mhm.
But again, you can be mad about that, and it's very valid. But you can't give up a lead like that.
No, can't happen.
Like the defense just completely just folded, and that momentum swing is so real because once that momentum is gone, it's hard to get it back. Like
Mm,
you need you need a like a some type of like impact play to get it back, and they just
yeah,
never like that. And then your confidence, then you're looking and you kind of can see what's coming because I mean
yeah,
Lamar is still Lamar on the other side of that ball.
absolutely, yeah, 100%.
You
It,
on the
it's
other
it's
side.
like a it's like an avalanche almost. It's like
Yeah.
when you allow, like, if there's another reality where the Bengals go down and they, even if they just got a field goal, they didn't even have necessarily get a touchdown. That game is over after
Hmm.
they get one more score. Um, but you fumble the ball. They only have, I want to say it was at the 25, so they don't even have that far to go. They scored, within a couple of plays, and then your defense is just, it's like, oh, here we go again. Like we're like they, and then they it's like they know what's coming, and it's like,
They're like the defense is tired at that point in the game.
yeah, hmm,
I kind of go back to when I tweeted this is the decision making. I wonder how you feel. Like in that situation, yay, the 2-point conversion wins you the game. The extra point ties it. You live to fight another day. How do you feel? Like, were you comfortable with that? Because I heard some people say, "I'm with it. I'm comfortable with that." Ballsy, like you don't give the other team an opportunity to take that opportunity out of your hand. You have it here. Take it. How you feel about that? Because me personally, I wouldn't like it. I always like my chances, even with the momentum. Like I always like my chances in overtime.
yeah, you want to take it overtime. Well, I think, okay, so to answer that question, we have to go back to the previous game against the Ravens, and so in that game, went to overtime. Um, there was Lamar Jackson fumbles the ball. The Bengals get it.
Mhm.
The Bengals run three straight running plays, get absolutely nothing out of it. They kick a 50-yard field goal. They choose to kick a 50-yard field goal. The handler is the punter. The punter is trying to handle the snap. He fumbles it, and they miss the field goal. The Ravens get the ball back. Derrick Henry runs the ball. I want to say it was like a 40, 50-yard run. They trot Justin Tucker out there, and the game was over.
Yeah.
And so, Bengals fans were upset. Like, okay, so I don't know how in tune you are with Bengals fans, but so there's a love hate relationship. We love the team, or
Mhm.
even like certain players on the team. We hate the front office, and we hate the coaching staff for the most part. And so, Zach Taylor, just to give you some numbers, he um he does not have a winning record as a coach.
Mhm.
He does not have a winning record in the division, and he's been the coach now. This is his sixth season coaching the team. One thing that Bengals fans have been extremely upset about is getting off the slow starts every season.
Mhm.
And his win loss record in the first 2 weeks of the season, just in the first 2 weeks of the season since he's been coaching the Bengals, is 1-11. He's only won one game in the first 2 weeks of the season since he's been coaching the
Insane. I didn't realize it.
Bengals. When I saw that number, when I saw the stat for the win loss record in the first 2 weeks of the season, I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, how is he still
Still
coaching? Like, how is he still employed? Like, how is this like reality? And so, um, there've been a lot of issues, or Bengals fans have pointed out, like just how scared Zach Taylor coaches, and the way the first game between the Bengals and the Ravens ended, because it was very similar. Like,
Mhm.
Jamar was having a great game, Joe had a great game, um, and you have all the momentum after you get the turnover, like the Lamar Jackson fumble. You get the ball back, you don't throw the ball once, and you've been killing them. The Ravens are great defending against the run. They're terrible defending against the pass this season, if you watch them. And so you don't put it in Joe Burrow's hands one time. Like, you just run the ball three straight times and you kick a long field goal, and then obviously you have the mishap. Yeah. So, um, in that particular moment, I didn't, because the thing about it, the I want to say the Ravens still had two timeouts, and there was 40 seconds, I think, roughly left on the clock. Um, so, and also too, you have to think about how bad the Bengals defense has been.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would no, and under normal circumstances, if I could say like, hey, this team is the defense is capable of making a play, and or being opportunistic, creating a turnover. Absolutely. You kick the extra point, you go to overtime, you just see what happens. Maybe you get the ball first, you go down and score first, and you win the game.
Mhm.
Um, but at that moment, I didn't. I wanted them to go. I had a feeling they were going to go for the win anyway, just kind of based on how the first game ended. And it was just unfortunate. The one issue that I had with that particular play is that Jamar has been killing these boys all day. Now, it's double sided, because as great as Joe played that game, I want to say they had 40 pressures on him as a defense. So he got hit a lot. He got sacked 3 times. Should have got hit a lot more, but he was just mobile in the pocket and moving around. Um, so I don't know if that kind of, I don't know if his clock got sped up, but you got to at least give Jamar a chance. Um,
Mhm.
and he threw the ball to Tanner Hudson, a tight end, and it didn't happen. Um, so yeah, I mean, it was disappointing, but oddly enough, even with the Bengals being four, and I'm one of these Bengals fans that I mean, I talked a lot before the season. Like I was like, we're on the short list of teams that have Super Bowl aspirations. Like they're, you
Mhm.
know, like it's this season's gonna like Joe's gonna show out, Jamar's gonna show out, T's gonna play well. The one thing you couldn't really count on is defense just playing as bad as they have.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I don't hate the going for two. It's unfortunate it didn't work out. Like I said, I'm not gonna sit here, even though I feel like there were blatant things that could have been called on that play.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not going to blame the refs because when you're up two touchdowns, that's not just you can't let it come down to it didn't come down to the refs. There were so many things before that. So another thing too, I just want to mention really quickly. There were
Mhm.
several times, so I want to say there were two or three situations where it was short yardage situations where it was like third and one, fourth and one. Um,
Yeah.
the Bengals historically are not a good running team in short yardage situations. And this is another thing, I guess, if like Joe's having a great season, and I feel like it's nitpicking, but there were two situations on fourth and one where he chose to throw the ball deep and didn't convert.
I tweeted about that too. Like I was just going back to wasn't it? It was like a 4th and 2, and then
Mhm.
he threw a deep ball.
Yeah,
I was like, what are we doing?
yeah, like and again, Zach Taylor after the game, he's like in those situations where you catch the Ravens in the blitz, we're always going to try to push the ball down the field. But my thing is, and it's like Zach Taylor, he either coaches scared or another complaint is just his feel for the game overall. Like if it's a fourth and two situation, just get the yards and get and continue the drive.
Mhm.
Or if you know you're going to go for it on fourth and one, run the ball on third and one. And they didn't do that. And so,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it was like, hey, we don't really trust like Chase Brown because he fumbled the ball. Like I'm not really sure how that impacted the decision making, but um, it's disappointing and it sucks that to see the Bengals at 4-6. But believe it or not, there's still they the AFC compared to the NFC. Um, as far as records go, the NFC definitely has the better quality like teams right now as far as playoff seeding is concerned. And so um, it's looking like there's three teams that are potentially competing for the number seven spot on in the AFC, and that's the Bengals, the Colts, and the Broncos. And we play the Chargers this week in prime time, and we play the Broncos in a couple of weeks actually. So everything is still actually it's still in front of us. We have opportunity now. Whether they do anything with it, that's the story for another day. I guess we'll see how that unfolds. But
We got
um,
Broncos this week.
huh?
We got Broncos this week.
Oh, I mean, y'all should. Y'all, the defense isn't great, but I feel like the the way that Kirk Cousins is playing and the way the way he's gelling with Mooney and Drake
So,
London.
we're-
I saw something going on with his Achilles, Mooney.
yeah. And Kirk Cousins is on injury report, even though he fully participated. Kirk Cousins has something going on with his right arm and his right
Ooh,
elbow.
okay, that's
Uh,
interesting.
well, we can get to it, but
Yeah,
I'm
let's get to the rest of the let's get into the rest of week 10 first, and we'll see if and then we'll get into your Falcons a little bit more in depth. So just to kind of go over these games quickly. So we had the stinker over in Germany. I want to say it was the Giants and the Panthers.
the middle.
Um, yeah, I mean nothing to really take away from that game. It was 20-17. The Panthers won. Just terrible. It's nothing to really talk about in that one. Um, Patriots and Bears. The Patriots actually won that game pretty convincingly. It was 19-3. Caleb Williams continues to get hit a lot. Um, and that offense is just it's in shambles. So I'm not really sure what they're going to do. Well, I know they decided to go in a different direction. They fired the offensive coordinator and went in a different direction there. Um, so we'll see what type of impact that has. If it has a positive impact or not on the offense's performance. Um, the Bills and Colts. The Bills won that game 30-20. Josh Allen actually didn't have that great of a game. He kind of tried to keep the Colts in it the best he could with his
Mhm.
turnovers. Um, Let me look at his stats really quickly. Yeah, so he was 22 at 37 for 280 yards, no touchdowns. He threw two interceptions. Um, I don't think he didn't have any fumbles or anything. Oh no, he did have. Wait, sorry. No, he didn't have any fumbles. Um, but that was actually the last game that Joe Flacco is starting for the Colts. The offense looked absolutely terrible since they made the decision to bench Anthony Richardson and go with Joe Flacco. And now they look even
Crazy.
like they look even crazier because now Anthony Richardson
He's back.
is back as a starter. What are your thoughts on that, really quickly?
Um, I didn't love what he did. Pulling yourself
Out of the game.
retired is one of the
Well,
most
that's hilarious. Yeah.
like something like it's not like a basketball game. Like you could just know you are a starting quarterback in the NFL. It's only 32 of those jobs. And it's a lot of people that want that job. So that was crazy to me. I think but on the other side, I wonder if the NFL has like a player development issue, especially for quarterbacks, because it's just tough seeing a lot of these guys, young guys, come in. And when I look at Bryce Young, when I look at Caleb Williams, look at Anthony Richardson, it's just like, is that can more be done to like equip these guys? I hate what happened him getting pulled, but I'm glad he's getting another opportunity. I hope he learned from it.
Yeah.
But I really do wonder about like these player development systems on these teams.
Oh,
Because
absolutely. I mean, if you look at the Bears drafted Mitch Trubisky. He's I don't even know if he's a backup right now.
he's in the league.
Yeah. You saw what they did to Justin Fields. Um, Fields actually, got traded to the Steelers, and I want to say what were they 4-1 before they decided to make the change to Russell Wilson. But I mean, he was playing okay.
He's
Like,
playing, yeah, and it
um,
was a move by Mike Tomlin to because it's like working, but I mean he's one of the greatest. Like he clearly knew what he was doing.
no, absolutely, yeah, that took a lot of guts.
Justin Fields. I'm glad to see his strides because I do think he's could be solid as well. I wanted him to come to the Falcons at the beginning.
I
Um,
thought, to be honest with you, well, let me jump back. So when Lamar Jackson made his trade request and he went public with it, I was like, the Falcons have an opportunity, because Atlanta's a black city.
yeah,
So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, you got a black city, you bring Lamar Jackson, like a premier black quarterback in the NFL, like that makes so much sense in my head. And no team decided to reach out to the Falcons, reach out to the Ravens and make an offer, which is
crazy.
absolutely it's insane. Um, but yeah, so when Fields, like when the tea leaves were making it seem like he was out of there, I'm like, okay, well, he can go down there and he can be a leader. He can develop. Because I mean, to be honest, it's been hard to watch the Falcons the last two seasons with like Desmond Ritter and like the offense was just
Taylor Heineke and
yeah, like it was tough to watch. And
yeah,
so like Justin Fields at least is there's talent there. Like there's something you can try to like cultivate. And um I feel like that would have made a lot of sense too. They decided to, sign Cousins and draft Penix, which I'm interested to see how I'm really interested to see Penix and how his career unfolds. Um, but yeah, I mean Trubisky, Justin Fields. You see what's happening with Caleb Williams now with the Bears. Um, and I can't remember. I want to say maybe it was Damian Woody on Get Up on the Get Up show on ESPN. I think he said that more quarterbacks have been like led astray by coaching staffs than have been developed.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and where you get drafted to, and coaching matters, especially in the NFL. Like it's probably the of the major sports. I would say the coaching aspect of it is the most important.
100%.
And it sucks that so you have no control over where you get drafted a lot of times, and depending on who you get drafted to and who's in charge of trying to teach and guide you, you can get the short end of the stick. I mean, we've seen it play out like a lot. So, we'll see how Anthony Richardson and his story continues to unfold. But um, I am happy that he is like you said, the tapping out and
Yeah.
going like you can't take yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Legit like when I saw the post about it on social media, like I'm like, why is Anthony Richardson getting so much like flag? Like what happened?
Yeah.
And then I see it and I'm like there's no way he did that. Like I just never seen that happen before.
Yeah. Like it was one thing to do it, but then you have to lie in that situation. You cannot
Yeah,
you
you
have to
can't just
like, say your contact messed up something. Like, you can't not I appreciate honesty, but like, in that situation, you just have the wherewithal not to do that.
no, absolutely, yeah. You can't be honest. You can't
Like
be honest in that
that way.
situation.
And I feel like so many players get up on that podium and kind of, mask the truth. Like, dude, it's okay to save relationships, to save your job. But I'm rooting for him. I knew the switch to Joe Flacco wasn't going to do much. So that didn't make much sense. I just, I'm not a fan of just cutting some, not cutting, but pretty much demoting somebody for a
Yeah.
mistake.
Mhm.
It was a learning opportunity, and it's kind of tough because everybody, when they're young in their careers, like I remember being young on a job and making stupid mistakes, and not just having to not work anymore. So hopefully he learned from it. Hopefully he improves. I'm rooting for him.
No, absolutely. I mean, black quarterbacks have gotten a bad rap. I mean, you know
Mhm.
all about that with the Michael Vick experience down in Atlanta. You saw it, kind of play out firsthand there, and it's like I think speaking of Michael Vick, it's like what if Michael Vick had played for a coach or a coordinator who could really maximize his talent when he was in Atlanta? Like, cause we saw what it looked like when he was in Philly. I mean,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah. But
the
part
the
of it was
like his running ability, and I mean he's throwing deep balls to Deshaun Jackson. It's like they were unstoppable almost. And
but
so
I
it's like
think was he didn't watch film. He admitted like he didn't do everything he could do in Atlanta. And that's just part of being young. But that's why you go back to your point, like coaching is so important. Sometimes you need like someone who is just gonna stay on top of you and make sure you're going in the right direction. And I think in Atlanta they kind of just gave him the keys and just
let him do what
okay,
he wanted to do. Yeah,
and I mean teams know, your players, that the research they do on these guys before they get
no, hundred
drafted. Like
percent.
you know what you're getting. You know that certain people need a little bit more. Um, and I mean, the NFL is at the end of the day is about a dollar and getting butts in seats. So I would love to see them take a more personalized approach to players versus just like a blanket approach. Um,
Exactly. Like not everybody learns the same way, and you
right,
gotta be able to adapt and be flexible. And we're talking about athletes that are getting paid millions of dollars, and so it's
right,
like you the organizations want these players to be successful. So it's like if you have to kind of go in a different direction compared to what you normally do, like
do that
that's okay. That's what you get paid to do. You're a coach. like so
exactly.
to get back into these scores, the Chiefs remain undefeated. They ended up beating the Broncos 16-14 on a blocked field goal attempt. I don't know, man. It's um, especially as a Bengals fan, like it's not really a rivalry because the Bengals haven't won, but Joe Burrow is the one active quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes and the
Mhm.
Chiefs in the playoffs. Um, but yeah, to see, I think what really annoys me is I see Joe Burrow playing as well as he's playing, and it doesn't even matter. And I feel like because they're 4-6, the Chiefs are sitting here undefeated, and Mahomes is
Mhm.
not getting carried by his defense, but he's not playing like the Patrick Mahomes that we're used to seeing. You know
Yeah,
what I
they don't
mean?
look the
They don't.
usual
Absolutely,
Chiefs.
yeah. Like they
Yeah.
look like a team that's very much. It's like they run the ball, they take their opportunities, like trying to pass it when they can, um, but they don't air it out nearly as much as they used to. And it's like so they're very much a running team, um, who relies on their defense, which I mean their defense is pretty good. I mean they got great players. Um, what was his name? Trey McDuffie, I want to say is the cornerback. Chris, I'm trying to remember the defensive lineman's name. Who?
Chris Jones.
Yeah, Chris Jones, one of the better interior defensive linemen in the NFL. So I mean, they got playmakers all over the place on defense, and that's what they kind of been relying on. And they're finding ways to win. I think that's really like how you sum up their season. Um, but yeah, I couldn't believe they won that game. But ironically, that actually helped the Bengals because
Mhm.
obviously the Bengals lost, and so we wanted the Broncos to lose as well. So let's see. 49ers ended up beating the Buccaneers 23-20. Um, one of the better games of the weekend, the Steelers and Commanders. The Steelers ended up winning the game 28-27. Um, Russell Wilson, which a lot of people wrote Russell Wilson off based on how things went for him in Denver. I do feel Sean Payton, like we just said, coaching matters. I feel like Sean Payton hated Russell Wilson from the jump, and I think that was very you could absolutely tell in the way that he treated him on the
Mhm.
sideline. And I think that though the season last season, like I feel like Russell Wilson's performance was definitely tainted by the whole Sean Payton experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, just to get into some stats really quickly, as far as Russell Wilson's performance goes, he was he was 14 to 28, so he didn't really throw the ball a ton, didn't have a bunch of success, but he threw for 195 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. George Pickens had a pretty good day. 5 catches for 91 yards with 1 touchdown. And then Mike Williams had the play of the day, 1 catch for 32 yards and a touchdown. And that's what actually put them over the top.
Yes.
Um, let's see here, just a couple other games to go over.
Might as well just get to the elephant in
Yeah.
the room.
um, I want to give you like I want to cover these other games and kind of allow you to have your moment. So Vikings, which have actually they've looked pretty solid the majority of the season. They won the game against the Jaguars. They're now 7-2. The one issue I have with the Vikings, and I think it's going to be what kind of is their downfall when they get to the playoffs. Sam Darnold, he threw 3 interceptions, and so I think he's kind of turning back into the Sam Darnold that we know him to be. So I'm interested to see how their season unfolds. The Chargers ended up beating the Titans 27-17. Eagles stomped out the Cowboys 34-6. The Cardinals beat up on a very bad New York Jets team. Their score was 31-6.
That makes me sad too.
Why?
As much as I love the Falcons, I love that man Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
love Aaron Rodgers. I used to just sit on YouTube and watch compilations of Aaron Rodgers throwing darts. Like he's my favorite passer. Like I love to watch him play. So
Mhm.
you have to see your goats like
Yeah, you can tell it's
it-
kinda it's
you can
reaching the end. Yeah, like, the end is near, and
yeah,
I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I've even though I'm not a Packers fan, I enjoy watching Aaron Rodgers play the game of football. He
yeah,
throws he throws probably the prettiest passes,
yeah,
like, I've ever seen, and,
yeah,
I honestly, like, when he tore his Achilles last year, like, I mean, that sucked because I really felt like, "Oh, man, like, the Jets are really just a quarterback away from being able to be a good team." And so he tore his Achilles, we saw how that whole season unfolded, and then, this season is just not it's not been good.
even with the addition of Devontae,
Yeah, and I'm thinking, "Okay, well, at least the offense is." Yeah, like, they're
he's a
going, kinda turn up a little bit.
yeah,
No.
but that defense hasn't been what we thought that defense would be.
I agree with
And
you.
I mean, it's just like they have pieces. It just hasn't come together, and you can tell that Aaron Rodgers he just don't have the same. He can't move like he
No,
used to.
no. And that
And
offensive line is bad. Their offensive
yeah,
line is bad. He gets hit a lot.
he's too old to be getting. I don't know when Aaron Rodgers. I think he's 39. Not sure when he turns 40, but yeah, it's just you don't like to see your goats just not be your goats anymore. You know, so
Um, alright, so with them, Sunday night game was, Lions and Texans. Somehow the Lions won with, Jared Goff throwing 5 interceptions.
stinking good.
Um, I honestly, like, when I saw Jared Goff and, like, he threw a couple interceptions, I'm thinking, "Okay, this game." Like, I stopped watching the game. I'm like, "Okay, the Texans are about to, like, run it
Mhm.
up on him." And I don't know how they lost that game, to be honest, but they did. They didn't score in the second half at all. Now that I'm looking at the score, but normally when a team throws 5 interceptions and they lose a turnover battle, they don't win. But
Yeah, they could capitalize off any of the like Jared Goff is throwing picks like crazy, but if you're not
yeah,
scoring
if
off
you're not
of it,
scoring, it don't matter.
uh,
Um,
it don't do nothing. It was a good game though. The Texans just like I love Dan Campbell and what he's brought to Detroit. I mean the Lions, excuse me. They just find ways to win, just like the Chiefs. They just
yeah,
find ways to win. And I'm I don't know. I can see the Lions making a deep, 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 deep playoff run.
I
And
was.
what they've gone through, I wouldn't be mad at it. What those that fan base has gone through.
Oh yeah, I thought they were gonna make it last year, and then
Yeah,
they
yeah,
lost to the 49ers in the
yeah.
NFC Championship. But yeah, it almost seems like you said, the Chiefs and the Lions are both teams where
Figure it
you
out.
have an identity. You know what those teams are. They're well coached. Um, and I would not be surprised if that ended up being the Super Bowl like matchup. But it's a lot of games left, a lot of season left to play. Um, the final game on Monday was Dolphins and Rams. It was actually a pretty boring game. I tried to watch it, but wasn't really much going on. Dolphins won 23-15. Um, let's get to your favorite team. Um, the Falcons went to New Orleans for a divisional game. I'll let you take it, and you tell us about what you saw.
Yeah, so I think the whole city went down to New Orleans this weekend. It was pretty. I'm
Did you
serious.
go?
I didn't go,
Oh, okay.
but a lot of people I know went down there from social media. You can see people in the streets like Falcons takeover.
Mhm.
But in my head, like I'm a diehard Falcons fan, but I'm also such a realist. This is the classic trap game.
Yeah.
Um, you're riding high, you've been playing well, You going into another team's building that has completely just not
Y'all was 6-2 going in the game.
we were six
No, six and
in
three. Y'all were 6-3 going into the game. Okay.
um, but going in there and gets a team that has not been very good outside of those first two games. Derek Carr, who hasn't played the best. So I just knew I was like, I feel like they're not gonna take this game seriously. I feel like they think they got it in the bag. I hope they're vigilant. I hope that's not the case, and that was not the case. We could have definitely won that game. Of course, Young Wiku missed a ton of
He's
kicks.
normally automatic, man. Like that.
I don't like Atlanta fans calling for his head though. I don't like that. Like I don't like a guy having a bad day and now we don't want him to be our kicker anymore.
Yeah,
Like
he's made a lot of clutch kicks for y'all over the
he's
season. Yeah.
won a lot of games for us. He has
Yeah.
kept us afloat. I think there was a stat he's one of the leading Falcon scorers. I feel like. But Kirk Cousins went 23 for 38, 306 with interception. So I mean, it's not the best. Our defense still runs on complete, like, our defense, like, is just runs on fumes. Our defense terrifies me. And when we start talking into what the Falcons are going to do this year, I think not much with the defense that we have. Like, I mean, we can put a lot of points up on the board, but we also let teams put up points on the board. So in the beginning of the season, when we signed Kirk Cousins, I did not like it. I'll be
Mm,
honest.
yeah.
Um, I felt that Kirk has had his best days already.
Yeah.
He's coming off an Achilles injury. I would kind of have been better with if they didn't give him so much money.
Mm.
Um, I wanted to, and I was also wondering what are we trying to do because I feel like with Kirk Cousins, like we have offensive pieces like really great. We have our offense is elite in my opinion. But I just felt like we would be middle of the pack because of our defense, and I just have seen Kirk Cousins in too many other situations.
Yeah.
Like I just seen that story before.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, we'll probably make the playoffs. Um, we'll probably get axed, and however we win, if it's a wild card, we probably get axed in the card, or if we're in the divisional, we'll probably get axed there. And then what? Now we're not as high up in the draft
Yeah.
anymore. So our Atlanta teams have this very bad habit of like just being middle of the pack. Like
Mhm.
we're not the worst, but we're not competing for championships. And I'm tired of
And
like that.
that doesn't serve you. Like being in the middle, like you either want to go like if you have a good team, you want to go for it, or
Right.
you just want to be bad. You just want to be as bad as you can be
See,
to get the best draft pick possible. Yeah.
so I was a little concerned because I was like, I just don't know what we're trying to do. But surprisingly, Kurt comes in, fell in love with Kurt. And not even just he play. I just love the energy he's brought. He's
Yeah.
fun, adorable. Um, so I like this team. I'm nervous going into next week. Um, just with our injuries and Darnell Mooney is just completely just was not expecting that. Like we have one of the best wide receiver duos in the league between
He
with him.
looks rejuvenated, man. Like it's funny. I was talking in a group chat, and it was I think maybe it was after the Dallas game, where he caught that touchdown, and I'm like, I know, and we were just talking about Justin Fields and all that, but like I feel like you can see like a pep in his step. Like I feel
Yeah,
like he's really happy to be in Atlanta. I feel like he feels like he's found a home. Like it's where he belongs. His skill set is being taken advantage of, and I feel like one of the major issues he had when he was in Chicago is his skills weren't really being used effectively.
yeah.
So I'm happy to
And
see him doing well.
all that quarterback throwing. to him that makes him
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
as well. And I love our addition. I love Jesse. I know that hurts you. I love
Oh,
having him on the squad. I absolutely love him. I'm actually considering ordering a jersey, a Jesse
mm.
Bates jersey.
Jesse Bates, man, and it's like when you first said Jesse, I was like Jesse, and then I'm like, bruh, yeah, it just clicked in my head. That's
I know that
one,
hurt,
one,
but I
one of many missteps, but
yeah.
we don't have to get into that.
But I love Raheem Morris. I love the energy he's brought to the team.
Did you
I,
think he was the right coach? Like, did you like did you like him being hired?
I did. I like the hiring. I was not mad at that at all. I didn't know what direction we were gonna go in as far
Mhm.
as coaching, but when we made that hire, I was like, okay, that makes sense. I'm completely on board with it. I'm The thing with the Falcons is I don't think we'll do much this year. I think we'll go to the playoffs. I just don't trust our defense. I don't think we made any moves in before the trade deadline to help our pass rush or anything like that. Um, so I mean, it's tough. I feel like we'll kind of be in this same position until we add some pieces. Hopefully, we can figure some more pieces out in the draft. Maybe in free agency next year. I would have to look to see who's coming up on free agency, but it's a big improvement from where we were. Desmond Ritter was the worst.
Those dark days. Those are dark days.
And I knew when we drafted him, I was literally arguing with people. They were like, "Well, just give him." I'm like, "Dude, like I didn't see anything from this dude when he was at Cincinnati. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think he can come to the league. Like,
yeah.
he didn't jump off at me like on paper or from the games I did watch or the film I did watch because I try to watch him and give people like a chance. But
Mhm.
and I was actually like, Taylor Heineke should just start over him.
Yeah,
Like, and then they making the change. And I mean, I knew that wasn't, but at least I had seen more from him when he was in Washington. Um, I mean, still not great, but the Falcons just, I think we're improving now, but it's just been a lot of decisions where I just be like, what exactly are we doing? But again, I love my squad. Um, I think we're close. We're close to
a couple of
being
tweaks, and
yeah, we're close to being the elite of the elite. But I don't have the crazy expectations like I do for this year. I remember that 2016 season. I remember what that felt like.
mhm.
I actually went to all the games leading up. So I was at the NFC Championship game when we played Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I know what that felt like. That team would watch this team
Yeah,
completely. So I'm optimistic about where we go, but we just I hope our front office just knows what they're doing as far as just finish rounding the team out.
yeah. Couple of questions for you. So, how did you feel about the Michael Penix pick? Were you happy about that?
Yeah, so I was confused by it more than anything.
Yeah. Mm,
I remember me and a few friends had made like bets of who we would draft, and I was thinking we was going to go with Edge. I had like Dallas Turner from Bama at the
I
time.
thought for sure y'all were taking a defensive player.
Yeah, that's what I really wanted with Michael Penix. I like what I saw from him at Washington, but his knees concern me.
Mhm.
He was a little older, um, and at the time I thought we he was gonna at the time I thought he was gonna be starting. So and I thought we did it too early. I'm like, we could have waited to get him. We could have
Yeah.
traded
Mhm.
we didn't have to. I think we picked him at 8. We always get 8.
Yeah.
Like that's
Hey, yeah.
always because I think we picked Kyle Pitts at 8 too. So I was I was a little confused, but I was like, you know. But my other friend Mac was telling me he was like, if they drafted him, if Raheem drafted, they saw something in him. and they're really high on him. So he's gonna get to sit and like trust it. And I'm like, okay. So we'll see. It's hard. Like I'm glad he's getting to sit and learn. It was a really cold picture of him on the sideline. I forget what game it was. And him watching Kirk Cousins. I think that was that Eagles game. But so I'm hopeful. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect from him. I worry about his injuries again.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, will he be our quarterback of the future? Only time can tell. Like I really didn't get to see him much in preseason. I didn't get to catch any of the downs he played. So we'll see.
Yeah, I heard, I'm not super in tune with, like, what happened in the Falcons training camp, but I heard he looked really good in training camp.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what it was.
so I think for Falcons fans, y'all just kinda have to hope it turns into you know, a Jordan Love situation, like, where he sits for a couple of seasons, like 2, 3 seasons maybe, and then he comes out and he's just because to be honest, it's the luck, the no, I guess it's not luck, but the Packers going from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers
Yeah, man.
and Jordan Love is insane. Like that's crazy, crazy good drafting on their part. Um, and hopefully, that like I said, I was a bit confused with the draft pick, drafting Penix and then choosing to pay
Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins all that
Kirk
money.
Cousins all that money, and I'm like, but I can see, it's like you want to, I guess, kind of doing the two timeline thing. It's like you want to be
Yeah.
competitive now, but you want to set yourself up for, yeah,
Um,
the future.
yeah, I definitely get that. I just my prayer is that he does not have to play before he's ready. So I pray that Kirk Cousins stays healthy and playing at a high level for as long as he can. Because the last thing I would like to see is Michael Penix before he's ready to contribute to the team. But like I said, if he gets to sit a couple years and if he's really learning, and I think Kirk is probably a great mentor. I can't see him not being that. I'm very optimistic about what he can be. I mean, it's just so it's hard. It's like you draft quarterbacks and it's hard to tell like who's going to be the one. Like I don't know if anybody thought Patrick Mahomes was going to be what he
Yeah.
became.
No, yeah, no one. I mean,
So
if
it's hard to tell.
yeah, it's a like the hit. I have to look this up, but the hit rate on first round draft picks, especially with quarterbacks, is low. I mean, there's a lot more bust and like draft picks that just kind of end up turning into guys rather than like elite players. So you know, evaluating that talent is tough. It's not an easy job at all. Um, so I commend the scouts that put all those hours of work
Yeah,
in and traveling and watching these players and you know they're trusted voices within organizations when it comes to making those picks. I do agree with what you were saying as far as the outlook of the Falcon season because I mean I feel like when I think of Kirk Cousins I think of like he's a really great fantasy quarterback. Like if you draft him in your fantasy football league, he's gonna he's gonna put up good numbers. He'll
he
probably
had like
um,
509 in a game.
huh?
He threw for 509 yards
Yeah.
in a game this
So
like it's crazy.
he's talented. He's talented,
For sure.
obviously. I just feel like when it comes down to like really being able to win in this league, in the NFL, I don't think Kirk Cousins is that guy. But I think, like you said, I think the bigger concern for the Falcons is the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and so if going into the off season, obviously we gotta see how this season turns out, but I think that's really what y'all are gonna be focused on in free agency is like getting more pieces on that side of the ball.
And I am more impressed with like our free agency signings. Like I always felt like we never went after like big time names. I feel like
Yeah.
this off season was one of the first times like we like with Matthew Judon and
Getting Bates. Getting
but
Bates,
it's
getting
like
Simmons. I
yeah,
mean,
so those were like
those are good
historic
signings.
signings, and we've never had anything like that. So
Mm,
that right there is like an optimistic side for me. And when I went to look at the rest of the season, we got Broncos, Vikings. Like I think Sam Darnold's regressing. I think the Vikings have highly overachieved.
me too. Me too.
Giants, Panthers, we got Raiders, Commanders, Chargers. So I mean, we should be. You kind of you said that being number one in the NFC wasn't a NFC South wasn't a flex.
Now you have to realize, so like when and you know this, when you're going back and forth with someone, like you just like
You,
you're
you say
you're you're just saying stuff like trying to jab, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, what can I say? Like, oh, they're number one in NFC South. They're like the tallest short person. That's not really nothing, you know what I mean? Like, but I mean,
we,
I can't hate. I'd love to be 6-4. Like what? I can't hate on that. But
so
I was gonna say it in the moment. You know what I mean? So
like, wait, did I forget how the playoffs work? Like, seeding for the playoff work? Did I miss something? But no, I think the rest of the season, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 games left. I think we go worst case scenario 4-2 in those last 6 games. Commanders makes me nervous, and Chargers makes me
Chargers,
nervous.
maybe. Yeah, I think those are really the only two games that, and bruh, Jaden Daniels, like
They got one.
I went into because we're all Bengals were 0-2. We lost to the Patriots, which is this the nastiest loss of the season. I hate talking about it because I still can't believe it. Um, So, you lose to the Patriots at home, you lose to the Chiefs on the road. You can't start the season off 0-3. You can't. And you got
Absolutely.
you got Washington coming to Cincinnati, rookie quarterback. You should be like the defense is playing bad, but you got Joe Burrow, you got Jamar Chase, you got T. Higgins, and it's like, okay, you should be able to win that game. Like Bengals fan, like we were in spaces because there's a pretty big like community on Twitter. And so like we were in spaces like, yeah, if you should win by multiple touchdowns or by 10 points at least, like shit, whatever. And then that game turns into the Jaden Daniels coming out party. And you get absolutely gamed at the end in the fourth quarter. Jaden Daniel throws a dot to Terry McLaurin for a touchdown in the game. And it's like I could not believe I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. Still can't
Oh,
believe it. But yeah, Jaden Daniels I mean, they
he's
like you said, they got like the energy, and you can tell the way the Commanders are playing because the Commanders have kind of been like a joke to a certain degree, and you can just tell like when an organization and a team find like when they know they got that guy, just the energy that they play with,
yeah,
like it's different, and so it's like they lost to lost to the Steelers last week, but that was a close game, and
close game. It was a
yeah,
close
and
game.
some people would say, the refs you know, kind of played them a little bit at the end of the game. But I mean, yeah, man, like you can't that kid is serious. But yeah, the only game I agree with you. The only games I think y'all have to be like concerned about potentially are Commanders and Chargers. But
Yeah,
um, but yeah, so let's get into this last topic. It's been a hot topic on social media for a while. Well, this season. Um, and I'm biased. Obviously, I'm a Bengals fan.
and I
So
was low key trolling you when I said that.
um,
My revenge, fuck you.
what's funny is the Vikings are finally having a good season. So I know a Vikings fan, and like he's like he's his one claim to fame prior to this season was, Justin Jefferson is wide receiver one, blah 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 blah. I
Mhm.
mean, and even coming into this season. Like I felt like Jamar. I feel like the top three, and it doesn't even necessarily um, matter where you have them ranked, particularly was
Mhm,
Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and CeeDee Lamb. I feel like
mhm,
they're all like right there. But recently, it's kind of become a a big topic. Justin Jefferson got paid; he's the highest paid wide receiver. Kind of going back to the Bengals offseason, there was talk of the organization approaching Jamar Chase about an extension, um, which a wide receiver getting extended prior to his fourth year, especially a wide receiver as talented as Jamar Chase, that doesn't really happen. Um, and so apparently the organization tried to get ahead of it. They couldn't come to an agreement. Um, and their worst fears have come true because Jamar Chase is playing like on another level. He's currently, just to give the stats, um, leading the league in receptions, leading the league in yardage, and leading the league in touchdowns. So 66 receptions so far this season, 981 yards receiving so far, and then 10 touchdowns. I'm trying to see his yak yardage is 451. So he's no matter where he's catching it on the field, there's always an opportunity for him to take it to the house. Justin Jefferson, on the other hand, still putting up great numbers. He has 53 receptions for 831 yards with 5 touchdowns. Um, and again, I feel like when you're having this conversation, it's like you're splitting hairs. The one, I feel like if you're really like doing an evaluation of Jefferson versus Chase, it's like Justin Jefferson. I feel like where he has the edge is his route running. I feel like he's by
yeah,
far the best route runner in the NFL. With Jamar, the edge to him, who I just said is explosiveness. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Like I want to say, let me get this stat real quick. So he, since he came into the league, he has the most touchdown catches of 60 plus yards with a dozen. Um, and it doesn't matter where he's at on the field. It can be a screen pass. He can be surrounded by defenders in the middle of the field, and he'll somehow find a way. He's basically like a running back after he gets the ball in his hands. Um, and so, I mean, it's like they went. It's so funny because I went to South Carolina, so I hate Clemson University with a passion. And there was a period of time where Clemson fans thought that Clemson was like they used to refer themselves as wide receiver U because
mhm,
they had this string of wide receivers: Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams, just to kind of name a few. But when you look at the talent coming out of LSU, I think it's pretty clear that I mean between Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, like
mhm.
that is the real wide receiver U. Um,
Y'all put Bam up there too?
Bama's up there. I mean, I think you could even depending upon maybe you
Mhm,
throw Ohio State in there. I
yeah,
still I think in my opinion it's LSU, but Alabama. I mean Devontae Smith. I mean Julio Jones.
Henry
Uh,
Ruggs, with, Judy, Jerry Judy.
yeah, Jerry Judy. Um, Ohio State. You had Garrett Wilson. Um, who else came out of there? Um, JSN. Smith and Jigba in Seattle. I mean, so they have some notable players too, but I feel like that you can't go wrong either way. The Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson conversation. What? I know you said you were kind of trolling, but
Yeah,
how do you feel?
I was trolling you because in sports you gotta
Yeah,
put somebody in sports and in rap, you gotta put somebody at one. I think um it's kind of a style thing of like it's
yeah,
a preference thing for real. I love long, lanky receivers. Like I love really good route running, like crisp
mhm,
route running. So I think that's why I like Justin Jefferson more, but also Jamar Chase again. He's bigger, he's explosive. He gets more yards after catch. So I think it's really just a preference thing. I love Justin Jefferson. Like I just love the way he plays the game.
Yeah,
Um, I love the flash to him. But I mean, it really is being nitpicky because I mean, you kind of got to look at the quarterbacks too. You got Joe
that's
Burrow versus you got Sam Darnold
yeah,
right now. So you got to think like if you put him on, you give him the same quarterback, what does that look like? And Justin Jefferson's still balling out. So and he probably hasn't. He has well, not probably. He has not had as good quarterback play
that's
as Jamar Chase has. So you got to look at that too. But they. I mean, you could switch them out if you want to do 1A, 1B.
mhm.
Um, they're both they're both monsters. They're both dogs. Um, but
That's
I as though
that's the one that's where I will give like if you really want to have a conversation about it, that's where I give the edge to Justin Jefferson because I've seen him like Kirk Cousins towards Achilles last season. And
mhm,
it didn't matter who they had. They had two or three different they had Joshua Dobbs, they had I'm trying to remember there was another quarterback they had too. It didn't matter who was back there throwing him the ball. He was getting open. He was putting up 100 plus yards. Like
mhm,
he was doing his thing. And like going back to talking about the Bengals head coach for a second, that's kind of been another Kevin O'Connell, who's the coach of the Vikings. He's one of the best. He came, I want to say, from the Sean McVay coaching tree. And Sean McVay, they won a Super Bowl. Like one thing that if you watch the Rams play, like he schemes guys open. Like you see Cooper Cup running wide open, you see Puka Nakua running wide open, and so Kevin O'Connell's brought the same thing over there to Minnesota. Like Justin Jefferson, with the offensive scheme that they have in place, they're able to put him in advantageous positions to where they can take advantage of his skill set, and you know that on top of the skill that he already has his God given talent, like they're just the offense is crazy, and that's why Sam Darnold is playing some of the best football
yeah,
he's ever played in his life because he's basically in the system where he doesn't even really have to do much. It's almost like he's playing a video game to a certain degree.
right,
Um,
right,
Whereas on the other side of it, with the Bengals, obviously Joe Burrow, one of the better quarterbacks in the league, so Jamar has that advantage of having Joe throwing the football. But at the same time, there have been many complaints about Zach Taylor in the offense, and we don't have to get back into it, but just not the same thing where it's like the scheme isn't making it easier on the players. It's more so like Joe and Jamar through their talent are just succeeding. They're just out talenting people versus the scheme that the Vikings are running is just working really well, if that makes sense. So, but you can't go wrong, like I said, either way. But
right.
Justin Jefferson, he like it doesn't matter who you got back there, he's gonna be productive. And it just so happens that Joe and Jamar were college teammates, and
Yeah,
now they're playing in the NFL again.
all gonna be
Yeah.
tied together. Let me ask you this: if you're a GM, you're starting a team,
Mhm.
who are you taking?
Bruh. I mean, I'm biased, man. So it's I'm a
Try to
try
get
to
rid of the
take try to take my Bengals hat off for a second. I think I want the guy that regardless of he can take it to the house anytime because you just never know. Um, like I said, we've seen him catch screen passes. We've seen him just absolutely be surrounded by 4 or 5 different defenders, and he somehow manages to outrun them all and get to the house. So I'll take just like I feel like you said like you're a fan of Chris route running, which I respect 100%. I feel like I've gravitated to shorter, quicker guys
yeah,
who After they get the ball, they're just really scary. Like Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, like those, and they're not exactly the same kind of wide receiver. But once Tyreek gets going, it's hard to you can't really catch him. So um, I've always kind of been a fan of those type of wide receivers. So I think I still would run with Jamar.
Okay. You
Yeah.
how do you so when you said that you a big fan of Amara?
Yeah, he came out of nowhere, and I feel like that's another one where Ben Johnson is the offensive coordinator there, and the scheme that they run is
Yeah,
perfect for him, and
yeah,
they're always able to get him. They're able to get him open. They're able to get Jameson Williams open. Um, if if the Bengals season ends up just completely bottoming out, Ben Johnson would be my preferred pick for the next head coach of the Bengals. But
yeah,
from what I understand, he's going to be very selective about where he goes. So, I mean, I would assume he would love the opportunity to coach Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, but I mean he also may like the NFL is a tight knit community, so he may know that the Bengals are just the front office is a complete joke. So
yeah.
he may not want to deal with that. um. So yeah. So I guess, and I didn't put this on the banner, but before we get out of here, there was a shock drop today on the sneakers app, and the black cement threes came out. Well, it was a shock drop. So if you're on sneakers or if you were in tune with that on social media, you had the opportunity to get them a little bit early. I think they officially released on Black Friday. But um, were those shoes that you were looking out for, or
Um, no, I knew about the shock drop. I knew that was coming up. I'm plugged in on the Twitter sneaker community. I went in the app, looked at them, put my phone back down. Um, I love sneakers. I'm a sneakerhead. I got the white. I read up on my white threes. They come out
okay?
last year before last.
Mhm.
It was one of maybe I can't remember. It was either last year or year before last. I think it was year before last. I think it was 2022. And when I was like when the black cements drop, I'm gonna get them. I just didn't. I didn't get them. I don't know why. I don't know if I want a black sneaker, a
So
predominantly
you
black
prefer
sneaker.
you prefer the white threes to the black threes?
I do. I didn't used to be like that. I
Okay.
still have black threes somewhere
Mhm.
back, but yeah, I was like, yeah, I passed. And then they were 220. And they included the kid. I used to get kids Jordans, grade school, but the grade
Mhm.
school they all lumped them up. So I'm not used to paying 220 for my Jordans. I'm used to paying
Sure.
150.
Yeah.
Uh, so and Nike, I don't know what Nike's doing. It's nothing has really been nothing made me like ooh like I gotta get it. Like I think the last shoe I got off sneakers was a pair of Travis ones.
Okay.
Um, and I didn't hit the ones that just came out like a few months ago, the olive ones. I hit for like those low key ugly yellow and blue ones that I still haven't even
Oh, okay.
taken
I
off.
like those. I like those.
I don't know what to style. My big beef with the sneaker community is like everybody puts on like the shoes, but don't even put no effort into the
Into the
outfit.
outfit? Yeah, the fit.
That's like I get so tired of seeing like yes, your feet look great, but you literally stop there. You ain't gotta be a fashionista or nothing like that, but at least try like you don't have to sandwich method everything, like do the
Yeah.
matching with the but Nike, I think Nike is about to run into a problem. They just not nothing that they're putting out is really just giving a lot of hype. And I don't even know if it was a ton of hype over the threes, honestly. I don't
Yeah.
maybe I'm not in,
I
but
was I was surprised because like I have the last pair of threes that came out, the black cement threes that came out. I want to say it was 2019, I think. And so like when I saw these, it's one of my favorite pairs by far, and I was like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna try to get them. And so I saw the shock drop alert, and I was honestly surprised because I mean I've had a little bit of success on the sneaker app, but not a whole lot. Like based on my experience, I wouldn't even think I would be able to get like the Travis Scott, like the ones, like just because of how popular those are. And like you said,
Yeah, shoe size.
yeah, I haven't really like I've been paying attention, but like you similar to what you said, there haven't been many pairs that have caught my eye. Like I want to say the last pair I got was the Bread Fours, the leather ones though. Like the
Yeah, the,
yeah, so
like, the bread for us. Yeah,
yeah.
I haven't taken those out.
I haven't opened them. I haven't worn them.
Yeah,
And
me neither.
so, it's like I don't know if it's just me getting like
You get a
like
high on buying 'em.
exactly, like just getting them. Yeah,
Yeah,
just getting them.
and you open them and look at them. You take 'em out the box, sniff them, and then you just put them back in the closet. Yeah,
Yeah, like
I'm gonna wear them sometime this winter though. I do plan to.
buying sneakers is so different now because like I remember like I'm from the school like I still remember like walking into the mall and being able to grab a pair and it wasn't
Mhm.
like there was no line or nothing. You could just go in and you could just grab a pair and you were good. And so to see it turn into like long lines and now it's turned into raffles and now you sneaker apps and like it's changed so much.
Taking a lot of the fun out of it, for sure. And it's just made it just feels real backhanded.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
as I remember as a kid going to Greenbrier Mall, Atlanta people will know, Greenbrier Mall, going in there and they have a big, it's called World Foot Locker. It's like a giant Foot Locker.
Mhm.
Um, and I remember going in and buying a pair of Wolf Grey Fives, like nothing. I got my white cements back then, really just picked them up in the store. Bread ones, like it was just so easy. The only shoes we had to fight for, I feel like, I remember the Galaxy phones came out.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. I actually have a pair of those.
You do? You still
Yeah,
like dead stock or you worn them?
I haven't worn
Oh, those are probably they were so hold on,
them.
hold on to like I don't like I'm glad you don't have to camp out, but there's no shoe today that would make me even do
Camp
that.
out, yeah. There's no way. There's no way.
There's no shoe. Lately I've been real into like just other type stuff. Like the last shoe I bought like a few weeks ago, I got the Salehi New Balance
Okay.
530s. So I really like Salehi stuff, and I'm glad the hype has died down. Like that's another thing. The sneaker community is just lame. It's just what's everybody talking about? That's
People
what I'm
hopping
about.
on waves. That's really all it is. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause for a minute, like you couldn't get your hands on a pair of Salehis. Like, and another pair dropped today of like the Croc sneakers, which I'm not personally not a big fan of. But I do go and look to see if there's stock. Like, I just want to know what the hype is.
Mhm.
And they were in there, and I'm like, y'all are so phony. Like, y'all just go with whatever is popular right now. And so from what I see, nothing seems to be popular because even with those the cement threes that dropped today, um they were sitting when I went in the app probably 20 minutes later and they were still there. And then like on Twitter, I see everybody they said they got them. And then people call them bricks. Everybody gets them. That's so
Yeah.
stupid. A whole bunch of people bought them, but they're bricks because they're not sold out.
Yeah.
So sneaker game is just it's just
It's weird.
blind.
It's
Fun
weird.
is as fun
Well, it's
as it
like
is.
when you have a bunch like it used to, like it used to be based on like what you were genuinely interested in or what pair of shoes like you loved or whatever. But now it's just people are buying shoes to impress other people. That's
Yeah.
really what it's turned into. And
Yeah.
so like you said, it's like I do want a pair of the Salehi Crocs though. I haven't gotten a pair, but I do want a pair.
You can grab a pair easy now. Like they're probably I don't know about your size, but if you go on Flight Club, like a lot of them will be near retail.
Okay.
Uh, and I
I'm
was
gonna check
able to,
that
and I got like a few. I got pretty much almost every color of those, and
Mhm.
they were hard. Like I know what I had to go through. I had a computer up, my iPad up, my phone up. Wait, and like everybody having their phone up, entering a queue. Um, and even like getting those bread fours was tough because I didn't hit on sneakers. Then I had to go. I ended up getting those from Snipes.
Okay.
Uh,
The leather
yeah,
ones?
yeah, the leather ones.
Yeah.
That's my all time favorite Jordan.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm definitely a 3 well, like ones, threes, and fours mainly. Sometimes fives even. Well, I mean, fives, 11s. It's all over the place.
I used to love 11s as, like, when I was younger. I'm not as, I'm not as big, like, I remember when the Space Jams came out, and like,
Mm,
in was 2011, that was, like, a big deal. Like, stuff like, it was exciting then, like, just, like, the hype of it all, but, I do like the convenience of grabbing shoes, or if you didn't get it, you could pay a little bit more.
sure,
Uh,
yeah,
I am glad that resale is dying. Like, I know these resellers are having it tough. Like, tough because like, this stuff sits and, again, it's just all about hype stuff. So, if it's not a Travis, it's and even Kobe's, like, are the hype has died down.
yeah.
So I think people are now more leaning into, like, people are into, like, designer shoes more now, or, Asics and stuff like that, which I'm not spending $400 on a pair of Asics. Like, I used to get teased for wearing them.
One thing I did, like, I started seeing, the low top. What are they? What shoe am I thinking of?
Is
They
it a
kind of
Nike?
look. They kind of look like dunks, but they're not dunks. Um, it's the New Balance. The low top.
Oh, yeah. I think those are the
Is it the 550? Is that what I'm thinking of?
550s. Yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah,
5.
like I've kind of gravitated to those. I haven't bought a pair yet, but I've seen some pairs where I'm like, those look dope. So that might be I might look into those.
Yeah, I really love 530s, and you can get a pair of those for $99. Like,
Mhm.
colorway is the same price, and then the Salehi 530s is like $30 more. So yeah, those are like my everyday. Between that and I do like Vomeros, Nike Vomeros. Those are like my everyday kick it shoes. But like like I said, like, I was at a point where I was buying shoes. It was like a high of, like, being able to say, like, I got the shoe. But the older I get, the more I'm getting out of that.
That's what I'm
So
saying. Like I look in my closet now, and it's like I don't have like a. I have a decent collection, but it's like thinking about all these shoes that I have in my closet and some pairs still have never even I haven't worn, and
where
they're just kind of sitting there. You know what I mean? But
let's make it a duty to wear our shoes before we buy more
that's
shoes.
that's valid. Yeah, that's valid advice. I appreciate that.
I even wanted those Union One so bad they came out last year. Still ain't worn them. Still ain't cracked them out the box. Every time I'm about to, I end up wearing my New Balances, the same ones I wear every day.
Like you
So
said, it's the high of like having a shoe that you really want and getting it successfully.
yeah, and I'm not so worried about wearing it and, like, oh, I'm gonna wear it and then, like, it's gonna get dirty. I don't really care about that so
No,
much.
yeah,
It's like, I just wear what I've been wearing, and I know what it looks like, and I know it's comfortable. Especially if I gotta walk around a lot. I'm not trying to put on a pair of Jordans, especially some fours.
that's how I know I'm getting older, bro. Because it's like you 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 make a plan, or you got a day or whatever, and you put some Jordans on, and like
You know your feet
an
are gonna be on
hour or two into the day, your feet are killing you. Like
your feet are
it's
terrible, and I'm like, these can't be the same Jordans that
how
Mike
was he
did.
playing in these? How was he like doing like how?
They either had to change the cut or he had some insoles, but he
Something.
cannot. And I think that's why people in the league, you don't see people playing in retros.
No, not at all.
Not like you used to see people
You
doing
used to see it. You don't see it anymore. You don't see it anymore.
retros. Absolutely not. But also too, I have my theory too of why the sneakers community, like, the hype is died down just over sneakers period. After what happened with Kanye and with Yeezy,
Oh yeah.
took a lot of wind out of me because I was a big Yeezy fan, and, like, that was the one shoe I would get hyped for,
Mhm.
like, Yeezys. No matter if it was a foam runner, no matter if it was a 700, like a 350, I was hyped for it. And so when I deleted the confirmed app, there was no point in
Yeah.
having it no more. So I think that dying too, like these shoe dying,
But
everything is like,
they own those designs, don't they? Do they own those designs, or can he?
So I'm not 100% sure in the particulars. I know that they were selling Yeezys after they had broken a relationship with him, and they were the worst colorways. I didn't buy any of that stuff. They were the worst colorways, and they weren't approved. And the consensus was like, those aren't real Yeezys. Like the Kanye Yeezys. So and those actually ended up sitting at the outlet. I went to some outlets a few weeks ago and they had a pair of the Yeezy, like the basketball shoes,
Mhm.
and that not they were $20. If you not, they were 20, and I probably would have bought them, but
Mhm.
they didn't have size. They was all
I
little bit
gotcha.
sizes. They was so but no, they looked absolutely atrocious. Like if you compare like the iconic Yeezys, the colorways we love versus just the beige ones they were putting out. Yeah, they look really sauce.
Yeah, like you said, the game has changed a lot.
Yeah, I'm
And
getting older. I don't
yeah,
know. Maybe the young kids
one of the
enjoy it
two, one of the two, exactly.
because now I'm more into looking at getting. I like loafers and Birkenstocks.
Comfort is yeah, like it's about being comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. So that's my spiel.
Well, I know we veered off from football a little bit, but we both love sneakers, and just wanted to chat about that. Um, but how did you feel? Like, how did you feel about this? Did you enjoy yourself? The conversation? Like, what'd you think?
This was dope. I love stuff like this, and I've always wanted to like do more stuff like this. But so I'm glad that we've connected. And I even want to do spaces and stuff like that. So yeah, I love this. I think this was awesome. And I hope you guys will have me back.
Oh no, absolutely. It was a pleasure having you. Appreciate again, at PGM after the catch, we value, the opinions of women, and we want to create safe spaces where women can, feel free to express themselves genuinely and not have to worry about any type of, hate or backlash or anything like that. So
That's awesome. I
the
appreciate
pleasure was all mine, and we'll have to see if we can get you back on here soon. Where
it.
where where can the people find you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, same name. It's KASE. I don't know if it's gonna pop up anywhere. MICHELE underscore Case Michelle on Twitter and on Instagram. And you can find me there. Oh, and TikTok. I post those sometimes too.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for making the time and making yourself available for the conversation. It was really fun. This has been another episode of After the Catch presented by PGM. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. Um, Please like, share, and subscribe, and feel free to comment and share your thoughts on the episode and different ways we can improve. We appreciate any and all feedback. Um, Again, thank you, Miss Casey, for tuning or for participating, and we'll catch y'all next time. Thank you.